Hi, welcome to 40 Fridays of Fundamental Science Experiments with Rohini. Before the Industrial Revolution, the air was clean, and it was so in Britain also. And the trees there had a white lichen-covered moss on them, and the moths also camouflaged to suit the white bark of the trees, and the moths also lived there. And then industrial revolution came about, and then there was a lot of coal burning happening in Britain, and cities like Birmingham and Manchester became soot covered, and so did their trees, and the trees changed from pale colored lichen covered moss covered trees to something black. And then Edelston was the Edelston was the first person to observe an unusual black moth on the soot-covered trees. And then another scientist, Tutt, said that these black moths are a variant of the white moth, and they have evolved to protect themselves better from the predators, which were birds, of course. And Kettlewell wanted to prove it. So he set out to prove it. He captured, when he went out to capture the moths, he identified that there were 3 moths and not 2. And one was the naturally existing white moth, the other was the unusual black moth, and the other was a grey moth. And then he captured all 3 varieties of moths, and then he marked the moths under the wing with cellulose paint to identify which were the moths he caught. And then he released these moths into a bird reserve in Birmingham, near Birmingham. And after 2 days, he let the birds feed on the moths. And after 2 days, he recaptured the moths and then looked under their wing for the cellulose paint to see if they were the original moths he left into the area. And then he noticed that the bird reserve was highly polluted and had dark barked trees, and the black moth number which he released was the black moths survived there better and they were more in number, whereas the white moths that he released dwindled fatally or dwindled very much, and there were very few white moths left. He said that the birds or the predators could easily identify the white moths on the dark backgrounds because they weren't well camouflaged and most of them died. Whereas the black moths, which were better camouflaged and suited to the background, survived better. He repeated the experiment again in a clean area in Dorset, and there he observed that the black moths died in large numbers, whereas the white moths survived in large numbers. He said that the birds or the predators are the main source of eating these moths. And then these moths have evolved themselves in such a way to camouflage themselves from the predators and protect themselves, and that is they evolved to survive better. There are many controversies to these experiments, but then this experiment on moths post-industrial revolution, which was done by Kettlewell, demonstrated it's one of the first classical experiments to have proved Darwin's theory of natural selection. Thank you.